Hello?
Hello.
What's going on, man?
I'm just eating some fucking pancakes, and I want to talk to somebody so that I can use the pauses to eat more pancakes.
Cool.
All right.
I'm eating my sandwich and enjoying it. And
What is
then Barack Obama rides up on a white horse and points a gun at my head and says, "Give the beggar your sandwich." I don't feel the act of charity because I didn't choose to give charity. The beggar doesn't feel gratitude, he feels entitlement. And
Good.
Barack
Yeah, I think, yeah, people are entitled to sandwiches. Yeah, I'll fucking say it, yeah. If you're wealthy and you're shelling out fucking 98% of your upper fucking tax threshold to the government, which they redistribute, yeah, the people who get that money are entitled to it. Fuck you. You're not entitled to shit, fucking wealthy, rich-ass boy. You think that sandwich is yours? That sandwich is the people. Did you fucking till the wheat to make the bread? Did you fucking grow the cow to cut to make the salami or whatever the fuck salami's made out of? It's our sandwich. Did you milk the cow for the cheese? Did you grow the lettuce? No. We all worked on it together. Give me my fucking sandwich back.
Yes, I agree. Yes, Zionists will very often muddy the waters between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism because it makes it easier to deflect criticism. Well, no, it does, because your existence justifies that. As long as you people continue to promote the Jewish question, they have a reason, they have an excuse to do that, because you people actually exist. If you all would fuck off and die, it would be so much easier for me to go and look around and say, hey, there's no actual anti-Semitism here. It's just anti-Zionism. What the fuck is up with you guys? Where here does it say that?
I don't know. I have to look at that. It says that.
No. Because you keep running back to it. Where? What? Give me something I can control F.
Well, that article that I sent you wasn't about actually the U.S. Army, those specific groups. I'm
then
saying that
what the fuck are you doing? Where?
No, Vaush, listen. I'm saying that.
Where? What evidence? Tell me. Enlighten me, please. Where? Where's the army? That's the thing you keep bringing this to. I've read all of this. Where?
I haven't read all of it. I seriously did.
I read every single word. Where?
I'm talking about the United States sending arms to Ukraine.
Is there any term I can search? Anything I can look up?
After Ukraine, yeah. Ukraine has received several batches of U.S. weapons.
I'm aware of that. What about, you're saying we sent them weapons to support military action against this leader. Can you give me
No, listen. After those elements actually overthrew the government, after he actually flee to Moscow, the United States stepped up arming of the Ukraine.
So you were lying. You were lying. You explicitly said we gave them arms to overthrow their president. What, we did it after?
I'm saying the government was overthrown illegally, right? And the US
I don't care. Wait, law? What are you, a fucking liberal? Jesus Christ!
What?
Law! Law!
All right, Vaush.
Where? What armaments?
The U.S. has armed Ukraine.
No shit! Good! I hope we give them nukes. They shouldn't have taken them away.
Wait. Crowder's shit leads to violence.
Yeah, that's where I disagree. Wait.
You're just wrong. This dude's rhetoric is absolutely hardline fascist. The argument that it doesn't hurt anyone is ridiculous. He's the single largest conservative content creator on YouTube. He has 4.1 million subscribers. All it took was for him to make a lispy queer joke for thousands of homophobes to dogpile Carlos Maza in his DMs. That's the kind of power he has. He doesn't have to do any call to action. He can just wave his fingers and do a little slant eye bit, and somewhere some Chinese man is going to get 100 DMs from Crowder
Just close your eyes, turn off the screen. I mean, seriously, dude.
Okay, you do realize the person who typed that out was A, made fun of it for it, and then B, retracted it afterwards, right? The take you're making is so dumb that even the person who made it and was lambasted for making it retracted it later. Nobody believes this anymore. Just close your eyes and turn away. Could I have just closed my eyes and turned away and Christchurch didn't happen? Could I have closed my eyes and turned away and Trump didn't get elected? Wait, really quickly. So, because you seem to think that the internet is just this fairyland where nothing gets carried over from one side to the other. I don't know if you've ever considered this, but if you spend your time disseminating homophobic propaganda on YouTube, the people who watch and listen to you are going to be made more homophobic in real life too. It's not just online. They don't just stop at the internet and then they get up and they're like, oh, well, that was fun. Now back to believing we're all fundamentally the same, regardless of our sexuality. This distinction between online and in-person advocacy, this is a childlike argument. I can't believe you would disrespect me by making an argument like this.
See, listen, I'm an anarchist. I don't want any borders at all. I want everyone to be able to go wherever they want. Free world, yo. So we have a problem right now, and that problem is...
when I was 15, I was an anarchist too.
No, well, the difference is you were probably the kind of anarchist that relies upon the stupid, faulty assumptions that later led you to be a conservative, and I'm very principled and have a very good understanding of the theoretical groundwork of anarchism.
And the last thing you mentioned was that, you know, I think this is maybe a way we can take it as well, is that the interests of workers and owners are fundamentally opposed. I would say the same thing about all trade relationships, right? The interests of like the United States and Canada are fundamentally opposed when you're talking about negotiating a trade deal. Now, we could frame it that way, but I think there is a joint interest there, and that joint interest can create sort of net value, right? That plug and play or give and take, I should say, between like Canada and America is very valuable. And I think similarly, there's a lot of value created when there is a give and take between like a union and a corporation.
A couple of things. I think it's really odd that you would claim that it's more efficient to promote unions, which are just an extension of the antagonistic interests of the working class relative to the business owners, when unions are nothing more than a facsimile for the fact that owners don't have control itself. This is one of the issues I have, and you don't seem to understand. 50-50 isn't enough. Shareholders can have zero control. You say, like, well, there's a chance that workers could sway over one shareholder. I don't care. I don't want to live in a government where 50% of the legislature is foreign appointed officials, and we have to just sway one of them. That's not acceptable to me. It's democracy or it's not. In terms of efficiency, I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that direct worker control is inefficient. In fact, it seems to cut at the problem immediately by directly addressing the interior antagonisms, the power relationship between the workers and the owners having diametrically opposite interests.
So when I talk about Jewish people specifically, when we look at the concentration of wealth or the concentration of power,
yeah, how are they parasites?
And the exclusionary behavior that they engage politically,
yeah, like whites.
Push. But it's what the fuck? It's white people's nation. It's not a Jewish nation.
Whoa, 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 whoa! See, there you go. That's your fucking giveaway right there. You don't actually care about exclusionary behavior. You just don't like it when they do it. Exclusionary behavior. I'm sorry. You're reaching to me right now, buddy. Exclusionary behavior is bad one way or another. So for you to say like, the Jews are bad because they do exclusionary behavior, and then for me to say, well, whites do it too, and you're like, but it's okay when whites do it. No, it's not.
You know what parasite means? Do you know what parasite means?
This isn't a white nation. This is a nation of everyone who lives inside of it.
Historically,
I don't care. No. Listen, I don't. This whole like character by white nation. I don't care. This nation right now is occupied by everyone. Hold on. By everyone who lives in it. I don't care about nations. I care about people. And the people in this country are all equally American. They all equally contribute to the character of this country. So when you're like, well, exclusionary behavior is bad for the Jews do it because the Jews aren't from here and that's bad, and it's bad when they, but the white people, when they do it, it's okay if they do it because this is their country. This is asinine moral logic. This is stupid and it's beneath you.
So then you're saying that means in 2 years before the next midterm, you're saying they would pass stuff that would actually pretty much kill democracy.
What midterm? If
2024 to 2026.
What midterm? I don't think you understand, and this is why I use the rhetoric that I do. We're up. Time's up. They attempted a coup in the last election, and they still believe it was right to do so. We're already in the point in the history books where it's getting near too late to do anything. You're talking about, well, if they revoked our democracy in 2024, by 2026, the Republicans that have supported everything they've ever done up to this point would suddenly lose faith. No, Tucker Carlson will talk every single day and night about how anti-democratic it is that it's not possible for Klan members to protest outside of voting booths in black neighborhoods. They will talk endlessly about how the new wave of preliminary voting is an attack on our democracy and so on and so forth. They'll talk about how new redistricting laws are necessary to preserve the foundation. We won't get get another chance here. And the problem that I have, you say if they get rid of our democracy, oh, then we have a revolution. You won't know the democracy is gone until 8 years after it was too late. Because we're already right there. The clock's ticking to midnight, and you're talking about how the moderate Republicans wouldn't vote for them after they ended democracy. This is what I'm concerned about. You need to be more like me.
Okay.
I have never in my life met a substantial... Hold on. I've never in my life met a substantial level of criticism towards my anti-Semitism. I'm very open about criticizing Israel. This idea that the world is keeping you from talking about it is not true. The problem is that underneath your acceptable views is a whole fucking mountain of unacceptable Nazi dog shit that everyone has every right to give you shit for.
You could not go on Twitter right now and point out that all the CEOs of all the major media companies are Jewish.
Yeah, because the only reason you would say that is if you're promoting the JQ. Why would you say that? You could go on and say, hey, well, Jewish people have done pretty...
Jews all the time. You know, you can't. Dude, if they were Chinese, you could talk about it. Nobody.
Yeah, because there's no Chinese question conspiracy theory. The reason why people feel sensitive about the topic is because of people like you. Yes, your idea that it's malicious is a conspiracy theory. You have no facts to back that up. It is by definition a conspiracy theory.
I gotta go. Thanks for the chat.
All right, have a good one. Don't trip on your way out and break your head open on the corner of a table.
We were having a good time.
I kicked them.
I just think that government democratic accountability is good enough. And I think that democratic accountability in the workplace is good. But I think that complete ubiquitous worker democracy is not actually good. I think that rather we can have a give and take here between capital and workers that is valuable. And I think that a completely democratic government has shown to be fairly robust. That's definitely longer than one sentence, I'm sorry, but has shown a robust ability to address these social ills over time.
We will only take, and we will not give. First of all, these social democracies are being eroded, and this give and take that you refer to is an interplay between increasing systemic inequality and general technological advancement. American wealth inequality has been increasing for a century, since the New Deal. This is not a slowly increasing thing. Things have been getting worse. For 100 years, they've been getting worse. And they will continue to get worse as long as we live in countries where capital owners are capable of making these political decisions. It was capital owners who lobbied, capital owners who wrote those bills, capital owners who brought them to the heads of the parties, capital owners that sat them down, capital owners that voted on them, capital owners that promoted everything, always. And the vast majority of the population is the one that suffers the outcomes of these events.
I'm just
the percentage of people who detransition are very, very low, like incredibly low. And I wish them all the luck in the world, and I think they should be provided medical resources and support. But what does that have to do with transition?
I'm saying, okay, let me just simplify it. One person is too much. Okay, you can't just say, "Oh,
no,
it's not
wait,
common."
That's not how it works. Are you actually wait? Unironically, how old are you?
25.
Okay, so do you think nobody should be given antibiotics because there have been some people who have had adverse allergic reactions to them? Do you think we shouldn't have Rocky Road ice cream because there are some people who have adverse allergic reactions to them? Do you think we should be allowed to drive cars because statistically speaking, car deaths are one of the highest fucking mortality fucking incidents that take place in this country? Jesus Christ, do you have any idea how fucking stupid what you just said to me is? I am legitimately offended that you would actually try to corrupt my fucking brain by putting it in the presence of such a radioactively stupid comment. What the fuck? Okay, one is too much? Yeah. Do you have any idea how many people die in fucking car accidents? This is a completely invalid argument. The science is clear on this. Statistically speaking, the number of people who benefit from puberty blockers is much higher than the people who don't benefit. Massively so. Like this is like 100 to 1, or possibly even higher.
So it's funny that you mentioned about how there should be no roads, because that's the exact argument you made. I'm sorry, this is a tangent, but regarding Trump and possibly opening up the economy.
You did an incredible job avoiding coming to terms with the stupid shit that you just said.
All right, we could sideline that. It's just funny because that was a little kind of minor hypocritical point that I noticed.
If I have ever made any hypocritical comments, I promise you are not going to be the one who discovers them. Heretical Abe, thank you for the very kind $10. If you don't believe in redistributing the wealth of millionaires, you're not actually a socialist. 2.7 million mansion is just success as a capitalist talking point. This is a hoarding of wealth. Yeah, but how do you want to redistribute the wealth of millionaires? Your tax policy, or by like bullying our largest and most effective advocates every time they spend money that they have? The thing is, if you actually gave a fuck about that principle, you would attack everyone who has a $2.7 million house. You're attacking Hassan, not out of some utilitarian consideration for whether or not that wealth is going where it's needed, but because it's like an opulent gesture from somebody who you think should be subscribing to a poverty cult, okay? Just advocate for higher taxes, redistribute the means of production, so on and so forth. But why the fuck waste your time? Like, has any material good literally ever been done by attacking, like, wealthy socialists for being wealthy? Ever? Like, has anything, literally anything ever, has anyone's mind ever been changed on it? Have they ever decided to go and, like, donate all their money? Have they ever? No, all it does is cause bitter sectarian infighting every time. It's utterly fucking worthless. It does nothing good. And it's so obviously motivated by spite. You're making the same talking points Republicans do. When your talking points are identical to Fox News talking points, you should really look down at your bloodied hands and consider whether or not you're the good guy in this situation.
He said, we have a red button on my desk, and I said, I have a much bigger red button. And my
this is what Republicans want.
And yours doesn't.
They just want stupid war hawk military.
Anyway, it was very nasty, and then all of a sudden it became.
This is, by the way, this is what I mean about, like, the left and the right really don't need to work together to make the country better, because the right doesn't know how to make the country better. They don't know what they want. Okay, you could go up to a Republican and be like, here's a button. Okay, this button will fix our healthcare system, give everyone good jobs, it'll rebuild the unions, it'll make our country strong, it'll make people happy, it'll improve our education numbers, everything. But you have to let immigrants in, and also trans people have to use the bathrooms of their choosing, not just ones associated with the birth sex. And they would not press that button. They wouldn't press that button. They wouldn't do it. Legitimately, the reason why they clapped harder, they have clapped harder in this speech for woke equals shit than they did for America, America's troops, our warfare, or Donald Trump himself. Nothing did it quite like woke equals shit. They have no fucking right to ever speak on anything about improving the country because they don't care about improving the country, okay? I know they're victims of this ideology, but holy fuck, okay? Like, so are, like, Jonestown's cultists, okay? But I wouldn't be going to them for policy advice. Jesus fuck.
Just admit it. You want a scapegoat. Why can't you just say that? Everything you blame the Jews for doing, whites do more. They do more, they do it to greater groups of people, and it leads to greater harm.
It's not the same thing, because if it's your nation...
No, it's not their people. I don't care if it's their... I don't give a fuck if Japan... No, listen, I know you do, but it's stupid. The world doesn't turn to the clock of nations. Nations built nothing. Human beings built things.
You come off overconfident and dismissive. I just think I really think the only reason I come off that way is because a lot of people are really used to, like, the standard cuck bread tuber, like, behavior, you know? I'm sorry, this is politics, okay? I'm not an ASMR channel. If I do something you guys don't like this isn't just some hobby convenience shit. I have strong opinions that I've cultivated my whole life, and I consider advocating for those things to be a kind of moral imperative. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and you know, like, do this big, you know, like, showy bullshit, oh, I'll try to do better. Do people who give those apologies even mean it? The most performatively apologetic motherfuckers in the online left space are usually the most abusive. People like ThoughtSlime or Professor Flowers, who will... I mean, what was that ThoughtSlime video? I'm sorry I said nanners. Here's a 30-minute video apologizing for it. And they're like an insanely abusive piece of shit to other people. Like, this stuff happens. It's just, I don't care. I just do not care. What's nanners? Like bananas. Like crazy, you know.
I'm not saying any of this was moral. It's colonialism. Do you think I'm defending colonialism? What are you listening to this discussion? No, I'm saying it contributed to the accumulation of material wealth. This is what Marx would have called, by the way, primitive accumulation. You can Google that next time you'd like to come more prepared to a discussion of this caliber. But yeah, in the future, please listen to my arguments before responding to them. Mod, you've been interrupted so many times. I apologize for the indignities that have been forced upon you. What would you like to move to next?
No, so I do want you guys each to have, thank you for that. I do want you guys to have a final word on this 40 moment. We got 40 more minutes.
And we perhaps, and again, this is imaginative. Okay, cut me off.
Well, maybe it would be easier then if we took this from the other side. Let's say I'm the Grand Poobah of the United States, and you're trying to convince me that I should cede some of my territory
for the purposes of you producing a white ethno-state. I feel because that's the fundamental moral argument, right? I'd be arguing on the US's side why we shouldn't give you that territory, and you would be arguing the opposite. So if that's the case, what argument would you make to me? Like, what moral claim do you have to a racially homogenous territory?
I think if there was a place to go for pro-whites to exist comfortably out of people's hair, I think that would truthfully benefit both sides. So that would be kind of like my moral argument. If you want to stop me there.
Well, how would it benefit us? How do I benefit from this?
Okay, there's going to be less right-wing voters in the voting demographics in the electoral. So I think as you get rid of us, the fascists, there will be more support for communism. I think when we look at the youth, it is being polarized in terms of like communist fascist and the old paradigm of liberal versus conservative or capitalist. Like that's kind of dying. And I think we're going to either see a fight or we need to remove these two sides and give them some breathing room.
Sure.
And as you know, a nice guy white nationalist, I favor secession over civil war and eternal fighting.
If we're talking pragmatics, though, then the easiest thing that I could do is grant you territory in the heartland of America, starve you out with a blockade, deny you airspace in the surrounding area, wait for you all to starve, retake my territory, and now I have 1 million less fascists in my country. If we're talking pragmatics, the easiest thing that I could do would not be to your benefit. You're asking to be left alone, which is not something that I'd be willing to do purely because it benefits my voting demographics. So if you're making that argument, like, in what, like, why do you deserve this?
So I can still recognize the racial aspects of the Jewish influence or the Jewish behavior
conspiracy
within America
theory, yes.
and the world. Okay, well, it's interesting you say that. And again, I've showed you every single Jewish organization being pro-Zionist,
That's not a conspiracy theory, that's a fact. The conspiracy theory is that Jewish people have maintained a shadow control over this government and are doing so deliberately to hurt white people by imposing degeneracy and internationalism and open borders on white people. That's a conspiracy theory that you cannot prove. You cannot find me the fucking cabal. You can't find me the document, the member sheets, the fucking community organizations of Jewish people who come together and whisper about how they're going to suggest to their cousin to put a new black person in the movie to promote miscegenation with the white people so the white people can be bred out and then they can conquer America. You can't do it. These are the same fucking arguments you guys have been using since the 1930s, and they're fucking boring. You don't realize that they've been disproven 1,000 times. You don't realize that they're horrendously irrational, and you don't care, because as long as there are new dipshits to listen to you, new dumbfuck 14-year-old ex-libertarians to stumble across your YouTube videos and hear the same propaganda, it won't matter. You can continue to spread the same bullshit. It will never change. Leftist materialism has advanced eons in the past 80 years. You're still stuck in a rock, and we will bury you underneath it when we're done with this little uprising you've been having over the past few decades.